Okay, it claims it's live streaming.
So is this live streaming? Yeah, it does. But you should always record as a backup. So you be able to see the record button.
There it is. I was looking at the top. Yep.
All right. Yeah, the video is about to. Thank you.
Oh, it's not working for me today.
Okay. Interesting.
All right. All right, that should be everything. So we'll call it to order at 7:05. Apologies for the late start. This is the June meeting of the Bylaws and Ethics Committee. I'm Ryan Barthel, committee chair. And whoever would like.
Lisa Valella, committee member.
Christina Stevens, committee member.
Jeanette Wilson, co-chair.
Right. Going into it, we have the conduct statement on the agenda. Meeting minutes are up online as the recording. And then we have a couple of bylaw amendments. Let's see, we're gonna have to pull that up. Oh, it's already here. All right, the first one should be pretty simple. I don't have, is there any discussion on the name change for Parks? Parks
No.
proposed it, voted on it themselves.
Mhm.
All right, so skip right past that one and go to the next section. All right, so the letter B is basically that, oh, I need to share, apologies. Oh my goodness, this is real bad. And so the first one is just about folks cannot be a nominee for more than one open position at any given time. We did get a couple of comments on the language of that. I'm curious, just open up the discussion. While there is a bit of an issue this year, if Rich were elected chair, then we would have no nominee for vice chair. I think that all in all, that's kind of a small problem and one that we could probably find a solution to. So to me, this doesn't seem like it's all that necessary, but let's open the discussion with what everyone else is thinking on it.
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, I think it's not relevant really for this particular cycle of elections, but I think it is something that we should keep in mind for the future. Something that should be ironed out before the next round of elections. I think it's worth, considering. I know that we've been told about other community boards that have language that does preclude people from running for two offices simultaneously. So, I mean, I wouldn't be against maybe exploring what the other boards are doing and just kind of getting a consensus in that respect for us to use as a guide, maybe. So
I think that's a
That's
great
all I-
idea.
yeah.
Do you know of any other boards that allow more than one position? Allow,
I
allow
know that some,
for more than one position?
I know that some boards have no length, so I don't, from what I've looked at, I didn't see any board that says you may run for multiple offices at the same time. But I do know that there are other boards that have language that you shouldn't. So, you know, take
Language
it with a
that
grain of salt, I
or
guess,
that you cannot,
that you cannot.
okay.
Ultimately, I think that it only hurts the candidate themselves, right? I mean, there's no such language in higher elected and, actual elected office, or, as a public representative. And that's because no one would really do that, because you have to, it's important. And if you believe that it's something that's important, I think that you should probably be focusing on one thing and saying why you are the right person to do that one thing. But running for multiple offices, I feel like one's just shooting yourself in the foot, or language. I feel like I feel like it only hurts the candidate themselves.
I also, as I actually mentioned at the full board, that it could have impacted this election if another person wasn't then nominated for the co-chair position. I think there needs to be clear direction on what position you want. I also do believe that it could backfire on the person, because then they can wind up not getting either position. I think it just makes sense to have a clear guideline going into the nomination process.
I agree. I think that, it just sounds, from what I know from boards that I've served, I've never seen a board member running for two positions. They normally step down, so leave room for a new person just in case they win. So I agree with you, Julie.
Well, I'm new here, so I've never really done elections, and I do see your side. Because the person should focus on
What
the elected position that they want. However, it could also be someone who just really wants to be more involved and take on a bigger position on the board. So I think motive, or I don't wanna say motive, that kind of has a negative connotation to it. But the reasoning behind wanting to go onto the ballot for both positions. I'd be curious to know why someone would want to put themselves in multiple elections.
I also sort of worry, and this is something that it's come from the borough president's office, but okay, Rich, I see it. We'll get to you in gallery. I think that, I mean, that's, we'll get there. The BP's office in several conversations have talked about, we have a lot of bylaw amendments, and I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing, but I also I worry about legislating what we're trying to do here and trying to put everything into a box. I don't know.
I don't think we're putting things into a box. I think that we're just providing a structure to make for an election process that makes sense.
Has this happened a lot in the past? I know you've been on the board a long time. Has this been an ongoing issue every election?
There have been other folks who have either held a position, maybe a position that was up, or maybe one that was not, while running for an open position. So it happens, and it's not, to my knowledge, at least in my still relatively short time here, it's not caused us problems. Like Jeanette says, though, I mean, we could have been without a vice chair until September, or hold an emergency meeting in the summer, which would have been
So that answers my question, because I was gonna ask you a question. If somebody's running for a position but holds a present position and they want the new position, what happens to the seat?
They would step down from their other position.
So shouldn't they step down and then leave that open for somebody else to run for that seat?
Giving someone more time to pursue that would make more sense, yeah. And then also there's. You can take nominations from the floor, that's.
That's the way.
Let me double check on here, but.
I think another thing to note is that, you know, term limits are. What is that gonna look like in terms of, oh shoot, I just lost my train of thought. It's something to do with the term limit.
Yeah. I think
So I mean, I guess providing clarification now, might be beneficial moving forward for the next, you know, for the next generation. Whichever way it goes.
You froze on us for a moment, Cynthia, but it sounds like we're going to be losing some of our more senior board members very soon, and that institutional knowledge that goes with it and experience. So having
Right.
having a process that everyone agrees on makes sense.
Mhm.
Yep. Yep.
All right, any further discussion on this one?
No.
All right, we'll move to Article 6, Section 13. Don't know what that is.
Leadership committee.
Oh, and the description of the leadership committee. Okay, so this I think is just a clarifying thing. So in committees, you can have people who are not board members serve. So the chair can choose to appoint someone who's not a board member. Gallery session says that they can respond to questions or comments from board members, but that goes for every public meeting, and you may have people who are a member of the committee and not a member of the community board. So just saying that they can also pose questions. And that's what this section 13A, and then let's look at the description. I'll read it aloud for okay, so we'll do the whole thing. There's one small change in the first paragraph. There shall be a leadership committee which shall have as its members the officers of the community board and the chair of each standing committee. The leadership committee shall meet once a month between September and June inclusive to set the agenda and calendar for the full board. May consider and make recommendations in the name of the board on such matters and in such instances where deadlines do not allow adequate time for consideration by the entire board. May also consider such matters as it deems advisable and make recommendations to the full board. The vice chair shall serve as the chair of the leadership committee. Each officer and committee chair shall have one vote at leadership committee meetings. Should the chair of a particular committee be unable to attend a meeting of the leadership committee, It is that chair's responsibility to ensure their co-chair attends a meeting in their stead to avoid being marked absent. The person shall be the chair of more than one committee and should be entitled to cast one vote for each committee they chair, although such practice is discouraged. The board officer is also serving as committee chair concurrently. They shall exercise only one vote at leadership committee meetings. And the treasurer of the board is concurrently serving as acting vice chair. The treasurer shall still exercise only one vote as an officer at leadership committee meeting. So this seems to say that the co-chair seems to be, the point of this, as best I can read it, is to eliminate the co-chair's ability to vote in place of the chair. And I don't understand why we would need that.
So Ryan, my memory, is that the current language?
What I read is the updated language, the proposed language. It codifies that. Oh, I guess as it stands, the co-chair is a member of the leadership committee, but you only need to have one representative from a committee at leadership. Well, that's not spelled out, whatever. Officer and committee showing one vote, and then it removes the co-chair's ability to vote, while saying that it's chair's responsibility to make sure the co-chair attends, which I feel like that goes without saying. I think the part in Article 6 makes sense and is useful. I'm not seeing this one. Maybe can ask Jeremy about it later. For I don't know, this one wasn't sent to me, so I don't know who to ask directly who proposed it, but can ask Jeremy and Cynthia later on to maybe follow up about it. I don't. Do you all have thoughts on it?
Was it brought up at leadership at all? This changing, is
Not
anyone
that-
concerned?
Not that I'm aware of.
So is what we're adding here, because I'm a bit confused. I think it's spelling out that you could have more than one member. You could have for example, the chair and the co-chair at the leadership meeting, but that would still simply be one vote. And it's also stating that
Correct.
that if someone represents various committees and they're the only person there on the committee, then they can have one vote per committee. So is the only thing that we're adding is this paragraph, this sentence about either the chair or the co-chair has to be present so that they're not marked absent? That is a little confusing to me.
Yeah, I mean, that part I feel like that goes, if someone from the committee's not there, then the committee's absent. That's. I don't know why that needs to be spelled out, but
Yes.
then. The original language says. There shall be a leadership committee which shall have as its members the officers of the community board and the chair or co-chair of the standing of the standing committees.
Mhm.
And then down below, each officer and committee shall have one vote. So, and then it also says that if both are present and they disagree, the chairs vote overrides, all of that makes sense to me. Taking this
Mhm.
the co-chair out of the top means that the co-chair can't attend the leadership committee as a member and therefore can't vote in the leadership committee. Only the chair can vote of the committee. And then, that make sure your co-chair attends.
Brian, do you think it's trying to say if the chair is not available, then the chair must make sure the co-chair attends so they can have a vote? And that absence and all that doesn't make sense, but I'm
No.
thinking maybe if the chair cannot attend, then the chair's responsibility is to send the co-chair so that they can have a vote for that committee.
But they can't, because only the chair is a member of the leadership committee, and you can only vote in a committee if you're a member of the committee, right? I'm not trying to put Rich off when he raised his hand, having something to say about the nominees for one open position. I mean, it was proposed directly after he was nominated for chair and accepted it. He's obviously got a dog in this fight, so to speak.
That
But
doesn't make sense to me
committee,
because
so
if
he's talks
the
in
per-
legality. So
I'm so sorry. If the purpose of when the chair cannot make it is to have the co-chair there so that the committee can be represented, if the co-chair then doesn't have a vote,
Why are they there?
are they just there as a placeholder? Like,
A placeholder
that
for
doesn't seem
quorum?
to have a purpose.
I
Yeah.
assume they would vote.
Mm-hmm.
They're representing the committee
Mm-hmm.
at the chair's request due to the fact that the chair cannot make it. The co-chair should have a vote. There should be voting.
It's a vote, it's one vote, it belongs to that committee.
So that's the language as it stands, and I imagine that is the intent of this change, but if you reinsert that, put that back in, then the only change is this section about responsibility to ensure the co-chair attends a meeting in their stead,
Yeah.
which is already true. So
Mhm.
I don't see this adding anything right now. Could be wrong, but I
Is
would
it
at
just
least-
is it just a matter of ensuring quorum?
Vote.
the co-chair is not a member the way it's written, so
Right.
it doesn't.
What's this change?
The co-chair is not a member, so why is the
No,
co-chair
okay.
coming?
I don't know, maybe Jeremy read this and saw something and felt that it needed to be changed for,
Yeah, like I said,
based on the rules of community boards.
well, I mean, anyone can propose something, and if someone else whoever proposes is seeing something that I'm not, then I'll ask and try to get more information, but for now, I don't see any reason to make this particular change.
Yeah.
All right. The other one is there any other thoughts on?
Are we going to just delete the sentence that doesn't make sense? And are we going to address the fact of the co-chair being able to vote?
As it stands, I would vote down these changes. I don't see anything to them. But if we want to, I think that right now we're trying to divine what the person who wrote this was thinking, and without more information on that.
Do we just get this without knowing who altered it and why?
Yes, Jeremy, so explain, elaborate on that.
Jeremy said he's at an event.
Yeah, so I don't know, I mean, like I said, I'm gonna ask him about it.
Yeah.
I try not to say who has put forward different amendments in general, just it's not, I don't think that it's really privileged information, but unless they ask to be identified, I just try to keep it. But I don't know who this is to reach out to them. So like I said, to get more information.
So, to be clear, as it stands, as it turns out, I will be filling in for you at the leadership meeting, so I'm just there, but I don't vote.
No,
Is
as
that
it
correct?
stands, you do have a vote. This change would remove your vote.
I see,
I don't
okay.
agree with that at all.
The change as written, which I don't think that that's the intent, because it doesn't.
It's not saying either way, it's not saying that you can vote or you cannot vote.
Can you help me understand? Can somebody make a proposal and don't come forth to explain to us their rationale about it?
Sure, yeah.
Oh, yeah. So it can be,
Yeah, first we have to find out who made this,
Mm-hmm.
these proposed changes. All right, so maybe we need to table it until we find
Right.
out who did it and,
what it mean?
yeah, why, who and why.
I agree.
Okay.
Yeah, okay.
What about the section in the first part of this one? Just clarifying, where was that? Article 6, section 13. It must be higher, 8. No, in the past. 6. This one clarifying who may ask questions. This one makes sense, I think. Do we want to recommend this part and not the other part? I mean, that's my preference anyway. Or we can talk more about that when we get to motions.
So what is it changing? Is it changing anything or just?
They're on committees, the chair can choose to appoint someone who is not a member of of the board to the committee. And the way this is worded currently, the crossed out part says that the gallery session speaker may respond to questions or comments from board members. That leaves out these folks who might be appointed by the chair from the community to serve on the committee. This is just clarifying that any member of that committee may ask questions of a gallery speaker.
I am lost.
So referring to like community committee members?
Yes. Well, anyone who's a member of the committee rather than board members. I mean, the way that it's worded, any board member who happens to be in attendance, whether or not they're on the committee, is given the same right to ask questions as a committee member.
Okay.
So I think, members of the presiding committee is a little more specific, and I think it gets at what the intent was a little better.
Essentially clarifying once again that if you're in attendance at a meeting of which you are not a committee meeting, let's say, of which you are not a member, you're considered a gallery member. So if there are questions from the gallery,
Mm-hmm.
you as a board member who is not a member of that committee should not be right? Am I
Yes.
okay?
Or should be able.
Yeah, and you can, fire chair appointed a community member to housing or whatever. I think it was housing or land use, whichever. So saying that that person would have the same right as any other committee member to comment on or ask questions of a gallery speaker, which if the chair feels like they need to be on the committee, I think that makes sense.
I'm trying to
You
understand.
too.
I was here yesterday for the PAX meeting, and I'm gallery. So if I wanted to ask a question during the gallery session, I am now considered, the chair can consider me a member of the committee.
Well, I mean, the chair can appoint anyone to a committee pretty much at any time, so, but if you get more to your question. uh, The chair of the board can appoint anyone, they can,
Right,
a community member, a board member, anyone to a committee.
yes.
The way it's worded right now, the gallery session speaker may respond to at most 4 questions or comments from board members. So there are 2 problems there. Number 1, if you ask or if you appoint a community person to that committee, they don't have the same right to ask questions of gallery speakers, right? So like at a full board meeting, when you have someone come up and talk, and then at the end of their 2 minutes, we ask, does anyone have any questions? Someone on the board may ask them a question.
Okay.
We don't get questions from the gallery, we get questions from board members.
All right.
The way it's worded currently, if we appointed a community member onto a committee, someone who is not a board member onto the committee, they wouldn't have the right to ask a question of those gallery speakers. It also says that any board member in attendance, right, so if you were in the gallery at Parks yesterday, that you would have the same right to ask questions of the gallery speakers as anyone on the committee. And I think that that's also a little bit problematic, because
Okay,
if you want to be doing that, then you
Yeah.
can be on the
On the
committee.
committee.
I'm clear.
So I have a question. People just who are not on the board can be appointed to a committee?
Yes,
I didn't
Do
know
we have
that.
any community members that are appointed to a board?
That's a bylaw?
to a committee.
To a committee, I'm sorry. So we have no community members right now? No, that are, okay.
That's a bylaw.
It's not a bylaw, it's, I think it's.
Rich just said that happened in housing. Well, I'm just curious,
Wow.
I've actually never heard of this. Why would you appoint a community member to be on a board? To be on a committee?
On the committee.
It's called a community committee member.
Okay. Is there like a specific protocol that they have to have, or like someone who's maybe an architect for housing, or is there like, does there need to be no qualifications?
And that is also verified by our BP.
I mean, that's who's.
It's solely the-
Oh, okay.
it's solely the chair's decision to
Charter, I don't know.
appoint someone?
I'd have to revisit the language. It's been a while since I looked at it, to be honest.
Do they have voting rights?
Oh, no.
No.
No, okay.
In the committee, right?
That would be crazy.
They're a member of the committee, they have voting rights for the committee, I don't think they could serve as chair and then go to the leadership committee and vote there, but they could. The votes are taken of members of the committee, so, I mean,
But they're not a community board member.
No,
So why would they get a vote on a,
just to advance it to the full board, but.
Was it-
The committee.
what they're voting on, would they know, would they be prepped on the issues? Do they have knowledge of what they're gonna be voting on to vote?
The same as any other board member. I mean, they are a member of the committee and the same as you or I.
is that something new? Or has that always been? Okay, I've never heard of it. Okay.
Alrighty.
Let's see, the last one is what we talked about last time. I don't know that we have anything else to add. We'll reread it really.
Yeah.
We'll read it quickly. Something else in there. Yeah. Just one. Section 10, attendance, and as a reminder, the goal here is to, we do have some discussion, sorry. The goal here is to clarify what our expectations are for board members. So attendance shall be taken at every hearing and meeting. Each member shall be marked present, absent, excused when notice of the absence is given, or absent, unexcused when no notice is given. A record of each member's attendance shall be included in the minutes of each meeting. Per fiscal year, July 1st to June 30th, more than 3 unexcused absences from a committee's meetings or 3 total absences from full board meetings shall be considered excessive and may be cause for initiation of removal proceedings. Remote or virtual meeting attendance without a qualifying disability is limited to 2 meetings per year. Remote attendance beyond this, excepting extenuating circumstances, are deemed unexcused absences. Jeremy sent something earlier. He said that he felt like 3 committee meeting. Well, first, he was not entirely sure about the wording on initiating of removal proceedings. He wanted, does that mean removal proceedings from the board or from the committee, or does it depend on them? I think our intent was from the board. Was that correct?
Sounds
I
good.
believe the language in the city charter is, you may be removed from, from the board for cause, including yada, 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 excessive absences, etc.
Our intent in doing this, I believe that the removal proceedings we were talking about was removal from the board, yeah?
Yes.
Jeremy felt that that was excessive with the committee's meetings, and he suggested removal from the committee, which again, this is maybe cause for initiation of.
Right.
And if anyone believes that it would be more appropriate to remove them from the committee than to remove them from the board, like none of this says that we have to remove someone if they miss 3 meetings. And I don't imagine that we're going to start doing that either, but
I think in the language we say may be cause,
Yeah, and maybe cause,
Maybe
or
cause.
was.
may be cause. Doesn't mean that we are automatically going to do it. Also, can someone clarify something for me? I was under the impression that in order to serve on the community board, you had to be a member of at least one committee. Is that correct?
Yes.
yeah.
So I would think that I think all of those things factor in, but we are not saying that they will be removed. It will say that they may be removed.
We may initiate proceedings. It's not, yeah. All right. So we're good with it as is. That's what Jeremy brought that up. I wanted to bring it up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't think that we need to over explain things.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not saying if you miss these meetings that you're getting kicked off, it's.
Yeah.
Maybe cause.
Let me talk to you.
We're gonna think about initiating personal proceedings. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a really difficult balance to strike, because on the one hand, we do have, issues with attendance and issues with quorum. And then the question becomes, how do we, I don't want to say enforce, because we're not enforcers, but how do we encourage people to follow through and attend their meetings regularly? At the same time, there are people who are chronically absent or chronically don't make an effort. And then what is the consequence for that? How do we, encourage people to attend and let them know that, if you're not attending meetings, then there's something going to happen, right?
So I'm going to say one thing that is a fact and then one thing that is a perception. I had to reapply to be on the board this year. And one of the questions during my interview, they asked about attendance. They wanted to know what my attendance record was, and they also wanted to know what my attendance record would be. So clearly, attendance is a factor with board membership. I'm also going to say that in terms of perspective, with these guidelines, we're not taking anybody off the board. If you know this is the structure and this is the guidelines, and you opt not to attend, then you are taking yourself off. It's not going to be a surprise, because here it is written. And if it doesn't happen and you get another chance, then you have the option to do better. But it's not anyone taking the role of, well, you have to do this, or it's going to be punitive and this will happen. It's, here is the structure. This is what you signed on for. If that doesn't happen, then you're making decisions that could result in your removal.
Madam Chair, I have a question. You were talking about how do you encourage people to, we don't want to say it's a babysitting job, but maybe, because people have things happen last minute, people forget. Has it been a practice where the chair for a committee make sure that they reach out to their committee members at least before the meeting to encourage them to be there? And for the general meeting, there may be I don't know if if it's a responsibility of the staffers to just reach out just before the general meeting, because it will be, I'm sure that's a larger group. It will be a lot on you, the chair or your co-chair, to be reaching out. Because I remember when I was president, and I've been president for a very large board, I had to make sure that I have quorum. And I was not waiting on anyone to make me not have quorum. It was my job to get them there, just to call. I have been in a meeting, I don't have quorum, I go to the back, I call members that you gotta get in your car and get here. I need to have this meeting done today. And one of your members was my CEO when I was a board president, and he did that regularly. So we were almost all the time have full quorum. Because things happen, people forget. It's a volunteer job. It's most people, it's not the priority. So that would be something I don't know.
We do have the texts that go out a few days
Yes.
before that you're supposed to receive.
Yeah, I find it very helpful. Yeah, especially if you're seeing dates and stuff. Yeah, I do find that update very helpful.
Before that, it was an automatic call. It was the same thing, but just.
But a human voice and a text is different.
I like text, I like to see it,
Because
Go back to
they
it.
can say yes and still don't come.
right, like when I got here at 6:55, I went back to my text to make sure that I was here on the right
Yeah.
date.
I was about to call Cynthia.
If you
I don't know.
don't show up to meetings, I know Jeremy has called or someone, like, when I missed a meeting because I had a headache and I had fallen asleep, someone called me. So they are, the community is actively contacting us. Like I had said I would be here and I wasn't, so they called to find out, am I on my way?
That's nice. I don't know, maybe.
All right. I think that is about it. And time to move to the gallery. I know Rich has had his hand up, so hopefully still hanging out. Rich, are you there?
Yep. Hey, can you hear me?
Yeah.
All right. Let me see. I made a list because I was making notes. So I'll go backwards on the attendance issue. I hear what everyone's saying, but then I guess being on the board for, I mean, I don't know what year this is for me, maybe 6. I feel like this is a privilege to be a community board member, and I think you need to show up when you're supposed to show up. And if you don't show up, I think you shouldn't be part of the community board. And I think a lot of time folks have one foot in, one foot out because their lives are busy. And I think that's totally fine. But for us to do the work that we need to do for our constituents, we have to be active. We have to be locked in, per se. So that's why I always push for attendance kind of rules, because I think if we don't ask ourselves to be better, then the board's not going to be better. So that's my thinking of things. Of course, people forget. And I think we're very, 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 very lenient, and Cynthia could attest to excuse absences. and being, you know, we're very lenient on that. And I think that's something else we should kind of look at in the future. But for now, having this basic parameter, I think just it helps folks out in the future. And some of us are friends and some of us don't want to call each other out in terms of attendance. So I think the specific kind of fact you missed this and, you know, you're unexcused or you just disappeared, you know, if that happens often enough, then maybe you shouldn't be on the board. And maybe you have something inside you that doesn't want to quit. You know, these rules will help that. So I think it's more for us to be a better community board overall. That's why we've been knocking on this specific rule. I swear to God, maybe for a year almost that we've been talking about this in terms of changing this law. But that's that. In terms of the election, I totally support seeing what other community boards do and kind of researching that, and then coming to you guys can come to a decision and we could talk about the full board. That seems right to me. And I also agree with Ryan. Whoever's running for multiple positions is really literally shooting themselves in the foot. That they could lose both or they could win both. You never know. But for me, I like this. We inherited this rule. So a lot of us have been on the board for a while. This rule's been there. Folks used to run all the time for multiple things, and things would just shake out at the end. But it also kind of made folks competitive and want to like do better and like let's, you know, I want 5 people running for secretary. I want 10 people running for vice chair. So what I want for this community board again is I want full participation. I want folks to want to do things. I shouldn't have to call someone, hey, can you please run for secretary or run for vice chair or run for president? You know, for chair. So that's where I'm like a little, I don't want to score it too tight, the box, because I don't want to diminish participation. I want folks to be super engaged, and I want folks to come in with a lot of ideas, and I want the board to kind of thrive and be better than it was last year. We've done great, and I think, again, Cynthia can attest because we've been here for a while. What the board is now to what it was in 2020, completely different, 100% better, I swear. When we first got here a while back, all we did was fight, literally, each other. Now, at least, the issue we're talking about is attendance, not as bad as fighting, in my opinion. So I think we're slowly getting there, and I think that's a part of the membership. You know, we got good folks in, but I think what we're trying to do overall is just tying up the bylaws and everything together. So, yeah, that's all I got.
All right, thanks. Looks like we don't have anybody else in here, so we can go on to motions. So I'll make a motion that we change the name of the Parks, Recreation, Sanitation, and Environmental Protection Committee to Parks, Sanitation, and the Environment.
Second.
Let's see. Any more discussion on that?
No,
Anyone opposed? Anyone abstain? Passes unanimously. Let's see, the next one. Do we want to look into what other boards are doing about nominations and push it till next year? Okay. so move to September. For the leadership committee one, I'm gonna make a motion that we accept the changes in Article 6, Section 13. That's where we clarify who can ask questions and then discard, at least until we hear more, or we can table it, push it till next time. The leadership committee description. Let me get them. So I'll make a motion that we adopt the changes proposed for Article 6, Section 13A, and discard the changes proposed for the description of the leadership committee. Anyone want a second, or are we gonna leave that go?
But you're asking to table it?
I'm asking, so my motion is to adopt these changes that are on the screen that are
The beginning ones, yes.
Yeah,
Okay.
and then to discard or table. I'm open to suggestion on that one.
I'd like to table it because I'd like to find out who proposed it.
Okay, so,
I think we should find out who and what their reasoning was
okay,
behind all of these changes.
all right. So I'll make a motion that we adopt these changes in section 13 or article 6, section 13A, and table the proposed changes to the description of the leadership committee.
I second.
Any more discussion? Any abstentions? Any opposed? All right. And lastly, make a motion that we adopt the changes. Well, there are 2 changes. Let's see. Okay, so I'll make a motion that we remove Article 3, Section 5, Part A or Bullet A, and adopt the changes proposed in Article 6, Section 10. Oh, that's the wrong one. Just want to get it on the screen. That's 4. That was it. It's on the big red blob. All right. Oh no, I do want to want to add, this is a PDF, so I can't edit it, but
It's on the side over there.
it just tells about the font that he changed.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, just. So I think that we should. For initiation of removal proceedings, there are only proceedings for removal, we don't need to change that, okay. My thought, this was, Jeremy had asked a question, he had asked for clarity on this, is it removal proceedings from a committee or removal proceedings from the board? There are no proceedings to remove someone from a committee, the chair can just do it. There are only proceedings that are defined from the board, so I don't think it needs clarity. So, make a motion to remove Article 3, Section 5A, and to make the changes shown in Article 6, Section 10 regarding attendance.
Second.
All right. Anyone opposed? Anyone abstain? Also passes. Unless anyone has any old business or new business, I think that means we get to go home.
So John,
Okay.
so this is our last meeting for this.
Yes, the last meeting.
Yeah.
Till
Until
September.
September.
Good night, everyone. Get home safe.
Good night, good night, good night.
Have a great night, everyone.
Good night.
Good night, Cynthia. Good meeting.